Welcome to the No Streetlights Podcast. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Tim. We'll be diving deeply into what we've been through, how it changed us, and what we've learned.
We want to crush stigmas through sharing stories in open and vulnerable conversations.
These conversations could be triggering, so listen at your own discretion.
But please, reach out if we need to be doing something better. So, let's take a breath, relax, and be welcome.
A huge thank you to Hyland Markle for the original music, as well as all the production assistants.
We couldn't have done it without you, brother. Thank you.
If you like his music, you can find him on the gram at HYLANDMARKLE.
We have a Liam Neeson stand-in with us today. The man, the mystery, the prodigy, Jason Grooms, coming out of Tokyo, Japan, according to his Nike Swiss shirt right now. Pew, 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 pew. Hangout Lounge host, well-known comedian throughout the Navy. Probably the handsomest leading petty officer that's around right now. I know I've been out of the game for a minute, so Jason, it's your time, bro. It's your time.
Hey, I just want to... One, that was the best intro I've ever gotten in my life, man. So I appreciate that. You're hyping me up. I'm feeling good about myself because of you guys. Like, that's amazing. And two, thanks for having me on. I love your guys' podcast. It's amazing. It's honest. And I love how vulnerable you guys are throughout the entire thing. And I can tell you guys actually really care what you're talking about. I love it. You guys are doing it, killing it. And I really hope that you guys are able to blow up so people can understand that, hey, they're not the only ones going through this. And you guys can hopefully kind of maybe help them throughout the way.
Well, I really appreciate that, Jason. I've started listening to your podcast as well, the Hangout Lounge. You just dropped episode 2, correct? That's
Yeah, episode 2 is the most recent episode.
And 3 is out somewhere, right?
3 will be out tomorrow.
3's out tomorrow. Okay.
Tomorrow? Perfect.
Ooh.
So by the time our listeners listen to this, episode 3 is definitely going to be out, and probably episode 4 is going to be on its way out.
Yeah, every
we
Wednesday.
Look at about a little over a week turnover. Yeah.
Oh, every Wednesday?
Every Wednesday.
Okay, so Monday
Sweet.
they get Crime
So,
Junkie.
hey.
Wednesday they get Hangout Lounge. Friday they get nslp.
Hey, that sounds like the perfect way to go through a week. First of all, you start your week off with something a little, shock to the system. Then you get something like yours, which is a little bit more chill, something to help you get through that hump day. And then you finish off the weekend by being, open, vulnerable, and maybe depressed with us.
Yeah, work through some shit, come back Monday.
Yeah. Come back Monday to more system shock.
But Jason, really it was a no-brainer to have you on. We had so many great times out in Sasebo. I know you were primarily a harbor guy. I was primarily landside. But we hung out enough outside of work to really grow a bond, and I realized you were just a genuinely honest, great human being. You were at my house party that I left to go to another party. So, like...
I've never been at a party where somebody throws a party and then leaves his own party.
Well, there was another party going on. Like, I had to go see my boys.
And he left everybody there. Like, we were allowed to stay. He just left.
I came back and no one was there, so I was kind of surprised. I thought someone would be there.
It was like the most awkward, like, we're having a good time, we're partying, and then he disappears, and everybody was kind of like, so... do we stay? Like, what do we do now?
This party just keep going?
I think everyone probably felt awkward and then eventually left. But I was like, hey, guys, one of my boys called. There's a party going on over here. I'm going to go see how they're doing. Y'all can have a good time. Like, y'all are welcome in my house. My house is your house. And then I left, and they were like, ha, 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 he's going to come back up.
You never did.
No, he never came back.
No.
Dude, it's been a long-running joke for the past couple of episodes now about how Aaron is actually just completely insane, and This is just adding more fuel to the fire.
Jason had to spend one night in Yokoze with me, which he saw the glowing man.
Yeah, I'll say this. It might have been Yokoze, wherever we were at.
It was Yokoze.
Played a lot of Magic. I learned how to play Magic with Aaron over there, so...
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
He whooped me for 12 hours straight. It was horrible, but it was a good time. It was nice to learn how to play it.
That's just why I teach people how to play. Once you know how to play, you're going to kick my ass. But when you don't know what's going on, man, I can actually catch a dub. So, like, I
Yeah.
teach everyone Magic.
Yeah, Aaron's actually one of the worst Magic players I've ever played against. I have no idea what he builds his decks with, but, you know.
Patrick, every single time he plays me, he beats me. After our last recording, he wanted to get in a game. He played my mono blue Nope deck, and I played, I don't know, Teysa Karlov or something. Or no, I played Ninjas, and he beat the hell out of me with my own deck.
Oh my god.
And it was a deck that was just like an LOL all counterspells deck.
Counterspell Tribal. That's a great deck. Great deck. Hey everybody, welcome to our Magic the Gathering podcast.
Yeah,
My
play to
favorite
win.
deck
Oh,
is
sorry.
Play to Win. Be your own light.
So, Jason, I think this episode we're going to kind of follow your script where we're just kind of some friends talking so that our listeners get a feel for the Hangout Lounge. Because it is a really unique experience. It's really fun. And this is kind of last minute. We had a guest cancel.
Scheduling conflicts and whatnot.
Yeah, and we were trying to figure out how we're going to get an episode out. And I was like, bro, I've been calling Jason like every day for the past week about like our podcasts and stuff. He said his schedule's open, like he wants to record with us. Let's go.
Yeah, I think when you called me yesterday, we spent some time on the phone, and then I didn't realize we were going to be recording today, so I stayed up really late last night playing Baldur's Gate 3. I'm horrible at it, but I love it. You know, I was playing Baldur's Gate 3, and I woke up this morning, Aaron hit me up, and we were like, let's do it. So I hopped in the shower, I ate some like instant ramen real fast, and here we are.
Nice.
I can tell you're still in the Navy.
Just trying to live life right now.
But like we said,
man.
I'm in that same boat.
Oh, you rolled out of your bed. You went to physical therapy, and I don't know what else you've done today, but, you know.
Well, we drove down from Fredericksburg because she had a golf tournament or golf thing yesterday with a bunch of work people. So we got up at 6:30 this morning, crammed everything in our suitcases, drove home, hung out with my dad for a little bit, kind of caught up on what's been going on with the renovations, and
Oh, that sounds nice.
yeah. Then I drove in my truck that has no air conditioning and it's just a metal tin to my physical therapy appointment. I got there. There's a sign on the door that says, masks required, vaccinated or not. And I totally forgot that was a thing. So I didn't bring a mask because all my masks are in my car, not my truck. So I had to frantically burn tires all over town to try and find a plague mask. I had a very pleasant time with my masseuse who beat the hell out of me and then called you guys.
We actually had a very lovely conversation about hot, sweaty yoga and then cold, lazy yoga.
Yeah.
Yoga is extremely hard, though, for anybody who's never done it. It is, like, ridiculous. The first time I ever tried it, I was like, I don't know why anybody does this for fun. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I quit 5 minutes into it.
And you do BJJ, which is just like partner forced yoga.
Yeah, a little bit of it. I mainly box. I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu a few months ago, and like the second time I was rolling around, I got poked in the eye. My eye was cut, so I was like out for 2 weeks right there. I was like, I love doing all this martial arts stuff. I'm not good at it like Aaron is, but I do like doing it.
You do know Aaron's neck is like broken in 5 places now, right?
It might be our
People get
time.
like,
If we need to take him, this is the chance.
Don't get me wrong, Aaron could still kick my ass. He is a certified ass kicker, but, you know, I just would aim for the neck if you ever do have to fight him for any reason.
or don't, please don't. I don't want to fight you. I'll teach you how to fight, but don't fight me. I'm old.
If we are in a life and death situation and you are kicking my ass and I know I'm going to die and my only option is to slap the back of your neck, I'm going to do it. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you right now, the easiest way to incapacitate me is just boot me on top of the head, because it's my C-spine. I had a child boot me on top of the head once, and I was crippled. I was laid out for like a day and a half. I was like, I've been in so many fights, so many dangerous situations, and this like 8-year-old just leveled me with like a boot.
Dude, you were done.
God, I used to be so strong.
In all fairness, though, like I said, you could still kick my ass. I would have to make it to hit the top of your head first.
I could hurt most people before they could hurt me, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm retired, which means I've been tired so many times that we're past that. We're retired. We're tired again.
You keep retiring. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so if anybody wants to actually see a celebrity death match between Jason and Aaron, please share this with your friends. Leave a comment.
We'll have a celebrity
like our
boxing
page,
match.
Like our post. Yeah, that'd be phenomenal.
I'll make this really easy right now. I would lose.
No, you won't. If you make it out of the first round, you win. You win, bro. Get somebody with heavy ass hands. Tell them to open up in the first round, and after that, just go to work.
There we go. Easy day.
That's good to know. I got to make it through one round.
I will tell anyone how to beat my ass. It is going to be easy, bro.
I'll be the bikini wearing person with the sign. Like,
yes.
Round 1.
Yes, we got to do that.
I would pay for that.
Jason, who's the Black Beast?
Derek Lewis in UFC.
I'm like Derek Lewis, baby. I'm going to hit you a couple times, and if you don't go down, the next time you touch me, I'm going to fall. You got me, bro. You got me.
Hey, I'll say this. Derek Lewis is a scary, scary dude when his punches land, bro.
If he shook my hand, he'd knock me out.
I like their name.
Yeah, Derek Lewis.
Yeah, Derek Lewis. It's like a name of power, you
Derek
know?
Lewis, come on the podcast. What's up?
I don't know if you ever seen his post-fight interviews, but probably one of the funniest podcasts you guys have ever put out.
Everything I've seen with Derek Lewis it's hit after hit with that man.
He takes off his shorts after every fight. He talks about how
his balls are hot.
Yeah.
I get it.
Dude, that is very logical, yeah.
Oh, he's great, though. He's great.
So, Jason, what's going on with you, man? Talk about what's new. What are you doing?
So, yeah, I'm still in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
Still working that part of it. And this year has been kind of like a weird year for me. Like, I've always felt like my life has been at a pretty normal pace. Then this year, obviously, like it hasn't. I feel like it's been up and down and up and down. So personally, being 28 years old, I always felt like, at least now, for my own goals, I'm not where I want to be at. Professionally, yeah, easy day. I'm pretty confident in that. I think I'm in a decent place, but personally, not so much. And so I have been trying to kind of figure that out. So I got back into boxing. I started, the Hangout Lounge, because I wanted to have it up. I really started it because I just wanted to talk to people and my friends and having interesting conversations. And I've always thought, like, hey, I feel like the conversations I have with my friends are interesting enough to be recorded and put out. So here we are now with it out. And the podcast is something that I do because I enjoy doing it. I don't really, if it gets big, cool. If it doesn't get big, cool. It's not going to hurt me either way. I do it because I enjoy it. And then I really just want to do things in my life that I enjoy, especially at 28 years old now, man. I always get like this weird little feeling like, dude, like if something happened to me tomorrow, I'm a pretty healthy guy. I don't think it would. But if it did, like, would I be happy with my life? And at some points, yeah, but at other points, I still feel like there's things I could do more of and things I can improve on. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. And right now I'm in a pretty good place. I'm really happy with what I'm doing. Obviously, there's ways to improve and things that I can do more, especially personally, but I think I'm in a pretty good place right now.
Yeah. Going off of what you were just saying and everything, it kind of sounds like almost in the same vein of what we've talked about before in the past. There's certain things, sometimes you just wake up and you feel like you aren't at a certain goal, or maybe, you don't think you've reached a certain place, and you're building yourself up to the area and going where you want to be. Same thing, right? Same. If I were to pass away tomorrow, God forbid, knock on wood, I definitely have not lived a fulfilling life. There's plenty of other things I want to do. Buy a home, tear down some walls with my wife, rip up a carpet. Those are just to name a couple things. Walk the Great Wall of China. That'd be a pretty dope thing to do too. And maybe get stationed in Japan. That would also be pretty awesome.
That is awesome.
Yes. 10 out of 10 would go back. If they called me today and they were like, I know your neck's broke, but you could do like a full 20 in Japan, I would go back.
It's just the people there are so beautiful and the country's so beautiful. It's we can say it as much as we want, but it's one of those things you just have to go experience.
Yeah.
I think I've thought about it a lot since I've been listening to your podcast, Jason, because you keep bringing it up, how awesome Japan is. And I think that's kind of where I want to go with America, is like the Japanese people. It's not about Aaron or Tim or Jason. It's about us. If I'm not working my hardest, I'm letting my neighbor down.
Right.
Listening to episode 10, after I finally got it out of my brain after the edit, I saw that that's kind of what we're getting at. It's about community. No matter how strong I am, if the two of you went to kick my ass, you'd probably kick my ass. So, together, let's go. The more people we have driving forward, the better we're going to be. So, hopefully that's where we go as a country or as a generation or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an amazing place, and it wouldn't be a bad thing if we went in that direction with taking care of each other like that. I do have a question for you guys, though.
What's up?
You guys are very vulnerable. I've said that at the beginning with your guys' podcast. Is it hard for you guys to kind of get on the podcast weekly and be as vulnerable as you guys, and as vulnerable as you guys are, and as honest as you guys are?
It's kind of a double-edged sword, to be quite honest with you. One of the big reasons why I wanted to get on and do this podcast with Aaron was it was a platform for me to be open and vulnerable, be able to discuss these things that I either don't normally talk about in my day-to-day, or I just kind of, deal with on my own. So it's nice having a platform to not only talk about what I've gone through, but also be able to tell other people that they're not alone. And it's okay if they're feeling depressed or having a substance abuse issue or anything along those lines. However, there is the mental strain that kind of comes along with that. Because these are topics that I don't talk about very often, I'm kind of digging down into myself and forcing myself to reflect on what it is we're discussing. And it will bring up emotions, and, it's not a bad thing, right? It's a great way, and I feel as if it's almost therapeutic, but it is mentally exhausting. At least for me.
Yeah, so the Aaron answer to your question would be no. But the real answer is yeah, man. It is hard. I had a very emotionally abusive childhood. So one of the first things I learned in therapy was that my childhood had left me with a law in my brain that if I show emotion, I'm going to get attacked. So anytime I felt emotion, I would immediately shut down. So talking about it is easy. Being about it is hard. When I sit down at night with my wife and talk about how we're feeling and how we interacted and what she needs me to do to be a better husband, that shit is fucking hard. Because it's not easy being wrong. And I am so wrong every day so that I can be better tomorrow that sometimes it feels insurmountable. But I know my wife loves me. She's going to keep talking to me about what I need to be doing better. And we're going to make it work as a team. And I know that if Tim and I are scrambling on this podcast and, our guest, has a migraine or scheduling conflict, we're going to call my boy Jason. And if that doesn't work, Tim and I are going to talk about it. We're going to get an episode out every Friday for you. Because we decided we're going to make this thing work. We decided this shit's going to blow up by the end of the year. So you could take that shit to the bank. We're going to have followers. We're going to have viewers. This is going to be a thing. I'm going to be wearing t-shirts with your wife's art on it, Tim. Because we made that decision.
Hell yeah.
For me, making the decision and talking about it's real easy. Doing it's fucking hard.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's cool to hear, man, because I think with the Hangout Lounge, it's easy because, hey, we just talk about whatever. We don't have to get deep. It depends on whatever the guest really wants to talk about. But with you guys, it's every episode is deep. For example, the episode where Aaron's dad came on, that's an emotional episode. Just so for you guys to actually put that out in the public for the world to hear, man, I can't imagine how hard that can be sometimes.
I remember after that episode specifically, Aaron, I had talked with you a little bit, but even during the interview, there was a couple times I had to hide my face and everything. I was starting to tear up a bit. Forrest, his stories they're very emotional, and that was something that even editing that episode too, luckily my wife was there with me and everything, and she's my emotional rock. She always helps me whenever I'm in all aspects of my life. But I talked with her afterwards, and I told her how difficult that episode was, and recording the episode, and I told her how difficult that was. That one was rough.
Yeah, unfortunately, I still have to send your wife a bunch of videos of me and my dad crying for one of our other projects. But Jason, one thing I'm seeing with your podcast that I love is all your guests want to be open. They all want to talk about what they've been through. They want to show people they're not alone. Like, Devon was like, hey, man, I was out here. It was dark. I wasn't doing enough. I kind of hated myself. I went back to church. Like, I found purpose. I renewed my purpose. And, you know, your other friend who almost died from MRSA after he, you know, thought he was on the come up. And then he has invisible lat syndrome for like a year or whatever, you know, getting his wounds packed in. Go over to Hangout Lounge, you know, to hear about that. You know, he didn't think he was going to make it back. And now he's an active stage performer who's like making it happen and keeps getting continued with the show. And like, he's doing it. So fuck you, MRSA.
Yeah.
Fuck you, cancer.
Damn right.
And I know episode 5 was probably pretty difficult for you. I know it was difficult for Tim. We talked about Tim's history with the intro and stuff. And everyone keeps saying episode 5 is where we catch people, and that's really where we feel like we found our voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, episode 5. I mean, I've listened to all your guys' episodes. Episode 5 was definitely, and I think Aaron and I have talked about this before, is where I really was like, okay, they've got something here. And then you guys move on to things like the fireside chat and stuff like that. You had, oh my God, I'm going to mess it up.
Oh, Kirsten.
Yeah, Kirsten.
Kirsten.
Yeah, you had her on. That was a great episode. Then you had obviously the last episode where Aaron dives deep into, it's amazing, dude. Because for me, sometimes that stuff's hard to talk about. Like I would rather just tell people, yeah, I'm good, easy day, and move on with my life. But for you guys to weekly go out in the public eye into something that I think is going to blow up one day to where hopefully hundreds of thousands of people are listening to it is truly insane to me.
So, Jason, I also kind of want to give you a compliment on your podcast. When I was listening to it, dude, your charisma was phenomenal. Like, I was enjoying the episode. It had me captivated the moment I started hearing you talking. So I just want to say, like, you know, yeah, I think you have a phenomenal podcast voice. And also, you have a great mic, too.
Actually, I can't even, the mic was bought from my mom. When I told my mom I was going to do the podcast, she was super supportive, and she's the one that actually bought me the mic. So shout out to my mom. I appreciate that.
You're literally never going to have to upgrade that mic either. That is like the most high quality, like common podcast mic of all time.
That is the industry standard.
It's awesome. And I appreciate you talking about, you know, the guests help a lot. I really just kind of go through and whatever the guests want to talk about, we kind of get through before the episode. Hey, what do you want to talk about? And we go from there, and wherever the conversation starts, and we just kind of let it lead us from there. In episode 3, for example, we have Justin Dean on there, and we don't maybe get as deep into the life like we did with Devon and Sean in episodes 2 and 1. We just kind of talk about video games and we joke around for the episode.
Hell yeah.
That's kind of where we're at with episode 3. So that's the kind of beauty of having no rhyme or reason, is it's really just kind of whatever we want to talk about that week.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. It's a great idea too for your podcast. And I really like that. You can bring on anybody, you can talk about anything. Doesn't, like you said, it doesn't have to be deep. It can just be, hey man, what'd you do this week? You know, whatever.
And then a bunch of fart jokes.
I love that. That's incredible.
Yeah, especially the fart jokes.
You got to squeak them in when you can.
I think the coolest part about it for me was just the fact that when I reach out to people and I'm like, hey, do you want to be a guest? They've been so open with like, yeah, like let's do it. They've been really helpful, helping me out. Like, Aaron, I've asked you some dumb questions like, hey, how do I stop saying 17,000 times, right?
The answer is you don't.
So I've been real lucky with having my friends. I just said again, but having my friends really support me through this.
So where did you and Aaron meet? How did you guys like get in contact with each other?
Well, we were both on Tinder.
So we definitely met on Tinder. He hit me up. I said, I'm coming over, daddy. And that's how it started.
Oh, wow. You called him daddy too?
First message.
Dang. It took me 10 years to call him daddy. I didn't know what that meant. I was still going through my dad's death. So
And puberty.
You know. Yeah, puberty too. Yeah.
We met. Gee, it got me all flustered now.
You sweating over there? Whoa, man.
We met in Saspo in the Navy.
Okay.
I don't necessarily remember the first moment. I remember us eating dinners together and going to his house party where he left the house. And I remember he used to DM some Dungeons and Dragons games that I used to take part in. So, but I don't remember the exact.
Did I DM for you?
Yeah, in the common area of the barracks.
Oh, dude, that was such a blast.
Oh, man. So you played D&D with him? You played Magic with him? Aaron, I thought these were the things that only you and I did together.
Dude, it's unlockable on a Patreon tier. Don't act surprised, bro.
So you guys met in Sasebo, and you're still stationed in Japan? Are you?
No, so I was in Sasebo. After Sasebo, I went over to Washington State. After Washington State, I went to Bahrain. And after Bahrain, where I am now here in San Diego, California for at least 6 more months.
Oh, okay. I don't know why. I thought you were in Japan right now. I think it was because Aaron threw me off with that Tokyo shirt comment earlier.
Yeah, that's my bad. Jason, you don't got to be smart, bro. You pretty as hell, man. You are smart. You are capable. But you're just so pretty. You talk and people are like, whatever you say. Yes.
Dude, it's that charisma. I'm telling you, the charisma. It's in his voice.
I'm that pretty, but I do like sometimes get in the mirror and I'm like, okay, let's practice some sentences today because my looks might not catch anybody's attention, but I can definitely talk my way through some things here.
Dude, I am so lucky I don't have to make anybody else in the world like me. You know, I have my wife and I have my friends.
We've got 20 listeners. They like us.
26, I think. 26 now. On Spotify. I don't know about Apple. I hardly
Even though
check
we
the
have more
analytics
on
there.
Apple for whatever reason. Apple weirdos.
Yeah, people like Apple. Well, I'm an Apple weirdo. You got a problem with that?
I also
Wait, we're on
listen to
FaceTime.
I listen to your guys' podcast on Apple also.
God, we should maybe start looking at Apple.
Yes.
I thought everyone was on Spotify.
Yeah. Dude, we should invest in Apple stocks or something, man.
I could go for an Apple.
Apple is a lot more difficult to get posted on than Spotify, though. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah. I saw your post on Facebook about having issues with the publishing because it'll sit there and process forever, which is, Aaron, that's why we have so many issues with ours being dropped like a day later or whatever. It's frustrating, but at least it's consistently frustrating. If it was only every now and then I'd be annoyed by how inconsistent it was.
We know it's going to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I just predict it. And it's probably not a big problem for people who are like, you know, millions of listeners, like the Command Zone or
That have
whoever.
professional editors.
Whatever. Apple doesn't. Yeah.
So, Jason, I do want to get more into you because you don't speak unless someone opens up the floor for you, weirdo. It's almost like you're in the military. So, tell me more about what's going on in your life. What obstacles you've run up to in podcasting or what you've learned lately.
Yeah, man, it's like I said, personally, still working through some things, but overall, I'm blessed to have the most amazing friends in my life. My mom's still constantly helping me out with anything I need. She's there for me if I need anything, and my sister still is amazing. So I'm really blessed to have like that support system around me. It's weird to say, right? I'm at this like point to where like I went to the Drake concert here in Vegas like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And between that and it sounds weird, but between like that and this podcast and like the little things around my life, I'm like so motivated right now, like more motivated than ever. I'm like, have had the blast. I went to LA for a comedy show and things like that. And I've been lucky enough to be able to do things, but that made me more motivated to like want to succeed in life so I can continue to do things like that, the things that I like to do. It's hard to like explain, but I really want to just put my head down and just move forward in these things that I want to succeed in so I can continue to do the things in life that I love to do. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
That's exactly what Devon was talking about with like, you know, finding your purpose. And he said when he meets someone who's like, I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing. He's like, listen, every decision I made got me where I am. Every decision you made got you where you are, which means you're on the right track because I know I'm on the right track. So you wouldn't be here unless you're on the come up. And that's how it is. Yeah,
Devon was first of all, he's amazing. He had some really great knowledge that he talked about. And that quote that you just said where he's like, hey, you're on the right path because we've met each other. And I know I'm on the right path. So, I mean, it was a really beautiful thing to say. So that's really what I'm just working on right now is that like, hey, I'm lucky enough in my life, right, to where, yeah, I might have had some bad things happen, right? You know, I was unlucky enough to lose my dad to cancer, right?
Yeah.
But I still am lucky enough to have, you know, that support system and these good things happening in my life to where I am able to move forward. And I'm blessed enough to not really have my bad days are not other people's bad days, right? Like I'm lucky enough to never have gone through depression, right? Like I'm blessed enough in my life to not have to do that. Or I've never had a suicidal thought, right? So and that's just me being lucky and blessed that I haven't had to do that or haven't been put in that position to where I felt that way. So I really just try to move forward, put my head down, and realize like, hey, there's other people who have it worse for me that might need me to be there. So I need to pick my head up and be there for them when they need me to be there.
Yeah, but I think that's, again, episode 2, higher lows. We're coming up. This is a local low. I'm not as low as I was a year ago.
I really like where you're at too mentally, Jason. Honestly, something that I kind of talked about with Aaron after we had started this podcast. So it was like this rush of creative juices flowing through my brain. Like once we started up, it was just like like the dam broke, you know, all these ideas that I'd had in the back of my head started pouring out, things that I wanted to do. And, you know, I'm still active duty as well, like you. And the military's got me for a couple more years, and who knows how long they're going to keep me for. But starting a project like this and being able to see what I can create with my friends and a little bit of extra work and a little bit of stress, it's really motivated me to want to try and explore that even more. And I want to dig deeper. I want to go into doing things I've never done. I'm doing a challenge right now that is probably one of the hardest things I've decided to do in the past 5 years. And all of it stemmed from just sitting down, plugging in the mic, and recording with Aaron. And to me, when you were describing what you were feeling and how, you know that you're kind of on your right path and everything, to me, that sounds like exactly how I felt when we first started. And I mean, here we are, man. We're recording together. We're making an episode. And I feel like we're on the right path. I feel like we're heading towards the end game, the goal.
Yeah, I think you guys are killing it, man. Truly. Like, especially, and I think we've already mentioned it, but after episode 5, you guys have hit something that you guys sound like professional podcasters. It flows real well. Also, I just realized we have the same mic, Tim.
That's why he said that.
So, yeah, I was like, I just looked down and I realized it. So, it's truly, what you guys are doing is beautiful, man. And it's something that I don't understand. Because even this episode, right, Aaron's asking like about my life. It's hard for me to talk about like, hey, I was at some, maybe they weren't horrible points, but points where I don't like. But for you guys to come out here and be as honest, it mind-blowing.
I want to pick out one thing that Tim said in different words. Where you feel driven is where you should be. And that's like...
Wow, you make me sound so smart, Aaron.
And that's what our parents and our grandparents tried to teach us with that whole, like, if you love your job, you'll never work a day in your life. You should be doing something that makes you get out of bed. You should feel motivated. You should want to be better. And if you're not doing that, quit your fucking job and start a podcast. Don't really, because then you'll saturate the market and I'll get no views. But still. Another beautiful thing, I'm going to brag on Jason real quick. And I'm sorry that it might make you sad. But when you lost your father, watching your family celebrate his life was the most beautiful thing I had seen up to that point. That was the first time I had seen a quote-unquote funeral where it was truly a celebration that you guys got as much time as you did with him. And something I told some of Bayrod's friends is they were talking about how kind he was and how smart he was. And I was like, that means we have to be kind for Bayrod. That means we have to find solutions for each other the way Bayrod would for us. And I can do that. I can take up, Bayrod's charge. I can check on my friends to make sure they're not having those ideations and stuff. But I know those were very hard times for you. But every moment I spent with you, you were present. You were here. Whenever you, me, Bose, the whole squad was out, like, we remember every second of those nights. Most people don't remember that much time. Most people are on autopilot. Yeah. Or they're in cutscenes or, loading screens. We weren't. We were here.
Yeah, man. It's like when we talk about my dad, and I'm lucky enough to where when he did die, we did have that celebration. We rented out a boat and we had a big party for him in Pensacola because that was his favorite spot. And all his friends that came down, man, I was like, it made me happy to see that he was loved. You know what I mean? As much as I loved him, maybe not as much, but I was really glad that all his friends were able to make it down there for that. And so I just want to, and as you talk about like living in the moment, I always think like, hey, if that was me, like if I'm on my deathbed one day, bro, I don't want to like be like, man, I wish I did this. I want to be like, hey, I had some amazing memories. Like I lived my life and I remember what I did. And that's one of the reasons why I try to just to be there every time I do anything with my friends or family.
Yeah. I think that's something that I need to work on myself. I need to be more present in the moments. Because sometimes I do throw myself on autopilot. Today was a training Tuesday for us, so a lot of waiting and standing by,
did drills
and waiting
shit,
and
right?
standing by and debriefs. Oh yeah. I was white cell, so I wasn't too
White cell is the best role.
like overworked or anything.
If you can't be white cell, you should be op 4.
But a big thing about especially military and us active duty people, I think we go through this a lot too, the struggle of being present, because we're always doing this hurry up and wait thing. You show up to a place, you're told to muster 15 minutes prior to the hour that you're already early and all this other crazy crap, and you're standing by at 6:30 for something that happens at 8, and you're just standing there in formation, whatever it may be. You can't go out, you can't have whatever. And a lot of the times we do put our brains on autopilot, and we're just kind of going through the motions, and we're just waiting for the 10-minute speech that Secco's going to give us in 3.5 hours, whatever it could be. And, yeah,
I've been in the parking lot for a while before.
So it is difficult, Dude.
Just standing there. It's hot. There's no trees. Like,
just waiting.
Feels like your boots are melting to the pavement.
The funny part is, too, you can tell if they're mad, if they're making you wait even longer. If it's like, oh, it's 08, we're gonna start, and then 08:30 comes around, and then 09, and you're like, dude, we are about to get like destroyed. Secco's gonna come out here, Master Chief's gonna come out here, we're dead. But yeah, we go through that whole autopilot phase a lot, and it's something that I'm trying to work on. It's on my list of things I need to be tackling. Not only do I need to continue to remain open, vulnerable, and face my depressions, my anxiety, and work through those things, but I need to learn how to be more present.
And my cat is yelling at the foam on my walls for some reason.
Well, good girl.
I think it's living in the moment. It's also like recently this past year is like I've said before, like Aaron said before, like just be there. This past year I've been, well, not really the past year, I say the past few months, just putting my phone down. I've been using my phone far too much, and it's not something I realized until like a few months ago, where I was like, I got this notification. It's like every week it would tell me, I've been using it a higher percentage.
God.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now, like recently, I would say like a month or two ago, I was like, okay, I gotta, especially when I'm with people, like the phone's got to stay away, and that's been something that I've been working on. And sometimes it's hard because you randomly pick it up and start going through it without thinking. But that's if I could tell people like, hey, like I said, I'm not one of those guys who is perfect. I've used my phone far too much, but I am been trying to build better relationships with people, and that kind of starts with actually giving them your full attention, which means get the fuck off your phone. And that's something that I have recently learned.
I think a case study in like 20, 25 years is going to be really interesting to see how generations have grown and how that's just become like the norm to them. And like kids these days too, like my goddaughters, they have played with like tablets and phones and stuff since they were, I don't know, 4, 5, since they were old enough to comprehend what was going on, right? And I know they would watch videos, like they have like those educational tablets that you can get for kids now too. So like generations now are growing up with this technology, and we're making great advances in these technologies, but dude, what are we losing in the sense of like social skills, social ability, and like we just said, being present in the moment? Hell, I'm 30 years old. I did not grow up with the technologies, and I have to almost relearn how to be present because I've spent so much time nose diving in my phone.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because we live in a world right now where everything is run through computers, phones, technology, to where it's really hard to live your life without it. And like I said, I've had people, I don't want to say like I've lost friendships or anything, but it's like if I was with people and they didn't want to hang out with me because I'm on my phone the whole time, I would totally understand that. And I've had people mention to me like, yo, get off your phone. And luckily it took a while, but I realized like, yo, I've been on my phone way, way, way too much. And it's definitely been something that I've worked on because life's too short, man. Live in the moment. You don't have to take 17,000 pictures when you guys go out. You don't have to, tweet your every move or whatever they call it now, but it's not something you have to do.
Xing your every move.
Yeah, I don't know.
Live X? That does not sound like Twitter. That sounds like a website that's banned in Virginia.
I do want to touch on the point of not wanting a cell phone. Everyone thinks I'm crazy when I'm like, bro, I hate having a phone. I do not want a phone. My wife's like, dude, all your cards are on there, you use it to pay for shit. You're always on your phone. I'm like, but I hate it. It's the way I hate eating. It's things I have to do. I've got to be on a phone because it's 2023.
Did you just say you hate eating?
Oh, yeah, he hates eating.
I've got so much shit to do, and I've got to sit down when I get shaky and mash things into my face. That's so boring.
If you enjoyed what you were eating,
Bro,
Aaron.
so there was an old-timey philosopher who was talking about
Cheerios,
philosophy and consciousness and stuff, and people would ask, like, hey, what are you doing? And he's like, just dragging my corpse around, bro. We don't get to take this shit when we go.
Jesus
And so
Christ.
I've been thinking about that lately. Like, this isn't Aaron, the 190 pounds or whatever I am now. This is just like my meat suit. And you talking about you don't know what we're missing through technology? Amazing short story called By the Waters of Babylon that talks about how civilization ended via nuclear war because humans consumed too much knowledge too quickly and destroyed themselves.
Do you know who wrote that book?
I don't remember, but if you go on thrift books, find, search By the Waters of Babylon, you get it for $3 or whatever.
I'll find it. That sounds kind of interesting. I'll get the audiobook, which is probably $30 or something.
Yeah, Jesus.
The No Street Lights reading list. Bring your own light.
Bring your own book light.
Can
We
I
don't give
ask,
those things
though?
out.
You might have talked about it in your podcast, and I just missed it. How did you guys come up with the name No Street Lights?
Oh, God. Everyone asked that question, and I'm only going to tell you this story because it's you, Jason.
Yeah. I guess it's finally time it comes out.
So, one night, I believe Tim was talking crap to somebody. They were having a little back and forth, a little measuring going on. And I'm standing behind Tim because everyone in my town knew who I was. And I'm trying to look,
Nobody knew who you were.
bro, I've been back a couple times, and they're like, you're Aaron Ash? It makes my head very big.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, yes, and I would like to buy gas with change, please.
Rolls of pennies.
So Tim's talking shit with someone, right? I got my arms crossed, and every time he says some shit, I'm like, yeah.
Aaron was my legit hype man for this, for whatever
This
the
little
hell was
spit
going
session
on.
back
I
and
don't
forth.
actually remember. Yeah, like this stupid little conversation. Aaron was my hype man, so he was just like in the background, like
Just backing him up. And then he was like, I grew up in a dark place, man. You don't even know. And behind him, I went, yeah, no streetlights. They got no streetlights on his street, bro.
whatever was going on. I'm pretty sure that stopped me dead, and I just started.
Tim like
losing
turned
it, dude.
around and was like, what the fuck? That's too literal. That's not what And I was like, yeah, my bad. And the other guy was like, that was pretty funny. I'm not even mad anymore. Then they like high-fived or whatever, and we went and had a donut.
I don't know why, but that just stuck. It was just an inside joke, and every now and then it would get brought up in a conversation. Like we'd be talking, and be like, "Yeah, no street
Because we'd be
lights,
talking about going through dark times.
Yeah, and then I don't know, just whenever we started becoming serious about actually doing the podcast, we had to come up with a name for the podcast, and it was just like Tim Talks.
No, you want Tim Talks. This is my Tim Talk.
And he's Aaron.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't know what to expect when I asked the question about how you guys came up with the name, but it was not that. That's not what I was expecting.
Dude, it's the most random story. It's just an inside joke between Aaron and I. But I think the important thing is, since it's stuck with us for so long, we're able to take this inside joke and kind of give it some actual meaning versus just like joking around, which is why we bounced around the idea of our slogan being "Be your own light" or "Bring your own light." And what did we land on, Aaron? Be your own light.
Yeah, we're still going
right?
to argue about it on air a lot.
Bring your own light? Yeah. I said I've been telling people to listen to our podcast, and I always finish the plug by saying, "Bring your own light." And then Aaron reminded me yesterday that it's supposed to be your own light. But I'm going to stay on the bring.
We're going to make like Team Edward, Team Jacob.
Team Bring
like,
over here.
T-shirts where like bring your own light's crossed out. Just be your own light and shit. Like we have a whole fashion line planned out, Jason.
That's crazy. Be your own light, bring your... I've never even caught that you say bring your own light.
We just came up with it like a couple...
Yeah, it's like 2 episodes deep right now.
Okay. I was like, maybe that's why. I was like, I'll buy both shirts. The one that has "Be Your Own Light" crossed out, and the one that says "Bring Your Own." I'll buy both of them.
Oh, dude. So this is what you need to do: buy both shirts, then cut them both in half and stitch them both together down the middle, and then you'll have 2 shirts still, and you're gonna have one that's me and one that's Aaron, and it's gonna be one shirt.
Or
it's
don't
gonna be
do
a
that.
great time.
That sounds like way too much. That sounds dumb as hell.
Why not, man? It's a great idea. Look,
Yeah.
listen to me. I'm the ideas guy in this group,
You're
okay?
the creative itcher. I'm the ideas guy.
Damn it. You're right.
That is. I'm probably not gonna do that, Tim. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's probably not gonna do that.
Look, I'm going to tell you right now, right? If you do that, right, it's going to feel like work. And if it feels like work, that means it's rewarding, okay?
That sounds like a waste of your time, Jason. I wouldn't do that. Tim's like, yes, and. We're like, nah.
Yes, and come on, Aaron, let's go. No, come on, man. What a bad person you are. I like your shirt, though.
Yeah. What is your shirt, Aaron?
It's a Subaru dog.
With glasses.
I support
Whenever we
it.
bought the Subaru, they said they were going to get me a free shirt. And the next 5 times I went, I was like, hey, where's my shirt, bro?
And they finally got it.
Eventually, they gave me one.
The intern whose first day it was that they were just given their first employment shirt was like crying as they were handing it to Aaron.
Yeah.
And then that intern was fired for giving up their
Yeah,
work
obviously.
uniform.
I mean, you can't let someone go who's not going to defend the brand with their life.
Dude, you gotta bully them and no, don't do that.
That's what we do in the military.
Damn it, you're right.
This podcast for something about mental health. There's been a lot of talk about bullying and murder in past episodes, and
We can put in a BetterHelp ad.
Legal disclaimer: murdering's bad. Okay.
that's another thing too about how you guys can talk about these deep conversations, but still throw in like little jokes in there that really kind of like, but they flow so well. So it kind of is like, hey, it's not all deep and dark. Like there's these jokes that go through.
Yeah.
There's lights and no street lights.
Yeah, you bring your own light.
You got to bring your own light. Our fandom is going to be hilarious. So, Jason, you're 3 episodes deep into your podcast now. And I know for a fact whenever we hit our 3rd episode, there was a lot of stuff that we kind of didn't expect to become an issue, or not necessarily an issue, but like things that took up a majority of our workload. Editing, mastering, publishing, all of these things were, I mean, heck, even just getting original music. We were very lucky to have Hyland, but not everybody has a Hyland. So what are some things, like what are some things that you've learned from doing the past couple of episodes? What things have you realized that you need to either get better at or you have gotten better at? Things along those.
First would definitely be that I have had, and I'm getting a little better at it, but zero idea how to master audio. Zero. Not something I ever even thought about when it came. I just thought, hey, I'll talk into the microphone and post the podcast. Easy day. It's that. And then I get through it and I hear the audios are different levels and they don't match. They're not normalized. Or even in the editing part when you're editing out coughs and breathing and lip smacks and things like that. It's not something that I planned for. I don't know why, but in my head, like, hey, it's just I'm going to speak into a microphone and boy, it's posted right after that. Easy day. And it wasn't like that at all. The second would be trying to find some type of like music for the intro. I went on Fiverr. Yeah. And I had a guy make it over there. He did a great job. almost exactly what I was looking for the time. So I don't have those talents to be able to make music, stuff like that. So I had to find somebody to do it for me. But definitely for me, it was the mastering. I still, even to this day, I'm like, I think in episode 2, as great as Devon is, there's still some mastering issues with the audio that I just couldn't work out. I didn't know how to do it. So hopefully as I do it, it'll get better and easier. So
I like when we talked, last weekend or whatever it was, I think if you set your decibel up right, you get, a standardized, here's how I master my episodes, you're going to be fine. Of course, my gain was set way too high. So like every word I was, maxing out my mic and had crazy distortion we were dealing with. And even as late as episode 8, we had some hiccups. I'm working on cranking out episode 11 now so that Tim can edit it or master it tomorrow, and then we'll drop it Friday. Editing is like a 2-day thing. You need to plan 2 days to edit an hour-long conversation, because you can only hear yourself so many times. You can only chop so many segments of empty space. You can only mute so many lip smacks before you lose your mind and the words don't mean anything. It's just sounds coming into your ear, and you got to step away. So that's a big thing, because all the famous YouTubers we watch are like, editor, clip that.
Yeah.
There's a reason they're paying those motherfuckers.
It's like you said, though, it's like after like the 4th time I listen to the podcast, it's almost like, all right, just post. Like I've don't even care about the editing and mastering after the 4th time. I'm like, whatever, just post whatever. I can't listen to it anymore.
That's why recently we switched over to where I'm doing the editing and Tim's doing the mastering, because Tim works his balls off and I'm just a little sad boy. So, why are we monopolizing
really
Tim's time with this podcast? Like, my depressed ass gonna be sitting here anyway. I realized that Tim was working all day, coming home, editing for hours, and then shoving food in his face, going to sleep, going to work. And I was sitting there getting upset. I think it was episode 8 where the hiccups were, and I text you every time there was a thing. And I was using Patrick and Jocko's thing. It's my fault. It's my fault Tim's overloaded. It's because I'm not doing enough. So I was I know how to talk. I know how to make words sound good. I can cut the ribbon, and then Tim can make it look pretty and send it to wherever the hell these noises go.
What about you guys? What's been the biggest issue you guys ran into? Is it the editing and mastering, or is it something different?
I will tell you this. In the same vein of what you were talking about, neither Aaron nor I knew anything about editing audio, what software to use. We didn't know anything about mics, gain. I've actually been recording this entire episode with a freaking fan on in the whole background, which means that's probably going to be in the audio, and I had no clue about that, right? But we're not audio engineers. We don't know anything about it. I've never taken a class on it. And like I said, we have been incredibly lucky to have our friend Hyland, who's been able to assist us and teach us about these things.
Yes.
And honestly, it's strange, right? I don't have a trained ear for any of the audio stuff. But when I was listening to your episode, I was actually even thinking, I was like, wow, you did a really good job with the editing and everything. Your podcast, your music, the way the voices are, and everybody, and this is something that luckily, we caught early on, but guest audio is never expected to be great. If our audio sounds better than the guest, it is what it is. But we bought mics, we put money into it, and we're asking somebody to record, essentially an interview on what basically is just a potato. So, it's fine. It is what it is. If their audio is slightly off, it's fine. But your audio sounds great. You do a good job with your mixing. The levels sounded like they were great. So, yeah, man, I honestly, it's a difficult thing to learn. But once you get your hands into it and you watch a couple of videos, to me, it sounds like you're doing a great job.
YouTube University.
I think my biggest issue with this podcast has been probably the amount of stuff I don't know. We didn't know that we should be doing batch recording in order to have, a stockpile of episodes in case something goes on. Tim's not going to be available for this weekend and early next week, so we have to plan around that. We had a guest planned for Monday, and then that fell through because health issues or whatever, and then scheduling conflicts. Tim had the drills. I had my physical therapy, and we had to make it work. There have been so many weeks that Tim or Hyland is can we just push this episode? And I'm like, no, no, we have to drop every Friday. Because if we don't, then we'll drop every other
once
Friday.
a month, and then we're done.
So my main thing, and this is because of how I know myself, I have to be consistent. Because if I'm not, I'm going to let that shit go. I was a gifted kid, so I was told I was going to be great at stuff. And so I'm either bad at stuff for a short time, and then I leave because I'm supposed to be good at it, or I'm good at something for a while, and then I retire champion after like my first dub. So I never master like anything. I've quit Magic so many times. Anytime I win, I'm like,
Calling it a day.
that's it. Hang 'em up, boys. Hang 'em up.
I think
Yeah.
it's been a huge benefit that Aaron and I have each other to help
Yeah,
us.
definitely.
Dude, if I was by myself making a podcast and, you know, bringing on friends and interviewing them and different person every week and stuff, it would be so difficult, dude. The workload would be way too much for me.
I would say with the workload, the hardest part is the editing and the mastering and just listening to it over and over and over and over again. As Aaron kind of talked about having like the batch episodes in the back, I did that. So I do have a few that can be posted. And as I record new ones, they'll kind of just keep out the ones that are already in the batch. I'll post those, things like that. The only time that I'll bump an episode up is if we talk about something that is like a current event or something like that. But it's just tough, man. I don't want to say
it is very
super
time
hard.
consuming.
It's just time consuming.
Not hard work, very time consuming. And it's worth it too.
And I don't think I've remarked on your music yet, but your music gets me so hyped. It's like a pre-game song that I would listen to before like we go on the court.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I sent this guy on the website to make it, and he was amazing during it. I should pull up his name real fast so that way I can give him a shout out. Right?
Shout
Really
out
great
to
stuff.
what's his name?
He's a
Name's in the
Fiverr artist,
description.
which means
Yeah.
he's
Podcast.
probably pretty good, honestly.
Dude, being on Fiverr is rough. I'm so glad you knew about that resource too, because that is
Yeah.
a
Very incredible and such easy to use thing. Like you throw like $50 at a person on the internet who's really good at this one specific thing you need help with, and they help you. It's great.
Yeah, he's definitely been killer. His name's Federico. It's Skane, SKANE_music. He's the one who made this song. He was phenomenal.
Wow.
14 days is
That's
what he asked
awesome.
for to get the music done. He did it in 6. Now, your guys' music's great, though. I think it fits the topics of what you guys are trying to talk about perfectly. So I think it's really like nice and calming, and I really do
Yeah.
enjoy it.
feels like being lulled into a nice, relaxed area, and then all of a sudden we hit you with so my depression.
Yeah.
It's okay, I take medication.
Welcome
for
back
that.
to the Dad's Club.
Oh my god, that's an awful club to be a part of. Fuck.
Yeah, fucking.
Yeah, no,
Jesus Christ.
just escalated so
God,
much.
I'm
man.
sorry.
He's complimenting our
I just
music.
automatically go to the most ridiculous thing.
Dude, this is how people know you've been in the military. Your dark humor, and it's just off kilter. Dude, you make so many out-of-pocket comments.
My niece lost her leg in a horrible accident, and my mom called me to tell me right after, and I was like, well, at least she's going to get half off on shoes for the rest of her life.
And that's the episode, everybody. Thank you for joining us this week.
I've been Jason.
Oh my God, what is happening?
This is normally what happens around the hour mark. It's like 3 a.m. on post.
That's fair.
I've been on Last Post Energy this entire podcast, this entire episode, because, you know, it's fucking 10:18 here. I need to go take my pills and go to bed.
Old man.
I know,
Yeah,
dude.
no,
I got a fistful of them. Jason, once you turn 30, it's over, man. It's over. Just don't even bother trying anymore. Don't.
It's the Avatar meme where they're like, I took your bending away for your knees.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Every conversation you have is going to devolve into like,
You're going to start making noises every time you get off the couch. You're going to be like,
A lot of that.
Well, he's already got Navy years on his body.
oh, crap.
You guys are really hyping up 30 years old right now. I mean,
I wish
guys are
I wish I
hyping
could
this
give
up.
you a good positive thing. You know how when people would be like, yeah, dude, when you turn 25, your insurance goes down and you can rent a car. Yeah, when you turn 30, nothing else happens. You just turned 30, man.
Oh, I've got a great thing that happened when I turned 30. Now that I'm 30, I can't see shit, so I worry about way less stuff. I can't see a damn thing.
You're going blind, too,
If it's outside of arm reach, I don't need it.
But I think we should probably go ahead and wrap this on up, guys.
I'm super stoked with the episode.
Dude, I think this has been a lot of fun. Jason, again, like your charisma, it's incredible, man. The more episodes you push out, I'm going to continue listening to your podcast. I enjoyed listening to it, and I really enjoyed having you on my podcast here today. Specifically my podcast.
His Tim Talk.
The Tim Talk. Just my
your
podcast. Yeah, Tim Talk.
Yeah, the Tim Talk with Aaron.
Yeah, with Aaron.
Let me thank you guys, man. I appreciate you guys inviting me on here. I'm sorry. It's hard for me to maybe be like as open as I wish I could be sometimes. It's something that I'm working on. But I really do appreciate you guys inviting me on here. And two, I hope that we could share the love and you guys can come on the Hangout Lounge.
Yes.
And I would love to have you guys and kind of turn it into like a kind of what we did here and turn it into like a No Streetlights podcast. So my guests can kind of see, my listeners can see what your guys' podcast is all about.
I do want to touch on what you said right there, right? It's completely okay if, the idea of being open and vulnerable and everything, it's not for everybody. It's not easy for people to switch that kind of thing on. And there's a piece of advice I heard, and I think it's just really good for people to understand this. Just because if you open up and be vulnerable to somebody else, it is not right for you to expect the same from that person. And if I sit here and I tell you my entire life story, Jason, I don't expect you to have to do the same thing. I'm telling you just so we can talk about it if you want to talk about it.
And if you can't deal with it, shut it down.
It's okay, dude. It's completely fine. Honestly.
Yeah, we're also going to talk about setting boundaries a lot.
Yeah. I just loved having you on here. We had some jokes. We had some laughs. We made fun of Aaron a lot.
That bald bastard. I do want to say this episode is more of a Hangout Lounge energy. This is what you can expect when you go over and hang out with Jason. It feels like you have basketball shorts and an athletic tee on, like with the ball cap down low, like my man Jason.
Yeah, man.
You feel like you're one of the boys. So go check him out. I'm stoked on every episode he's put out. He's got no rhyme or reason, so he's just flowing. And it's lovely to see, especially when it's one of my friends who I know is such a genuinely nice person. You're not putting this shit on for anybody. Hangout Lounge energy is loose, it's chill, and it's fun. I said this episode kind of had Hangout Lounge energy, but it also went way deeper, way darker.
Yeah. There still was no streetlights.
We still got to bring our own light.
Yeah.
Or be our own light in order to see shit around
Bring
here.
it.
Because we're 30. But
Jason, you got some time. You're gonna be okay, man. I promise.
yeah, you can see across the court or whatever, or at least cross the ring.
Yeah.
2 more years. 2 more years.
Yeah.
Make sure you enjoy it. Live up every minute of it. But yeah, we will link the Hangout Lounge. You're on Spotify, Apple. Are you on any other platforms?
Yeah, Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon Music now, randomly. Any of those places, really.
So we'll put a link to your show down below. So yeah, I want people to check you out.
Let's say, what kind of checking out are we talking about
You're
here?
a handsome guy, so I want people to check you out, but also listen to your podcast.
You guys are pretty good looking, too. I feel like you guys have been selling yourself short. I mean, you guys are beautiful.
Oh, not me. I tell people how amazing I am all the time.
Yeah, no, he's all. I'm always just trying. I like to fish for comments. I'll be like, yeah, I don't know if my hair looks good today.
For real, thank you guys. It's been an honor to be here. I love your guys' podcast. You guys are amazing, beautiful people, and the world needs to see and hear more of. So thank you guys again. I can't wait to have you guys on the Hangout Lounge.
Thank you for joining us. This has been Aaron.
And Tim.
And Jason.
Be good to yourselves and each other.
We love you.